Love, they say, is a complex web that entangles two unsuspecting people who are bound by the desires of their heart. It is only in this web that hearts communicate without a device. Bridget finds herself pregnant for Edwin Asante, the only son of the rich man, Mr. Diamond Asante, the richest man in the Squaca community. Squaca is a community that lends itself to the bourgeois of the English monarchical system. Bridget, on the other hand, comes from another town but happens to work in the same community of Squaca as a secretary in the Asante's empire, where Edwin happened to be the manager of the company and empire. The two had been seeing each other after working hours when one day, Edwin mistakenly bumps into Bridget, who was then a common job seeker, but her eyes were lit with cinnamon yellow, and a hot, deep fire in her eyes got Edwin so much enthused, and her little smile at the end of a sorry, surely, was the commencement of a great love story. The two start dating, and for the past 3 years, they've been secret lovers, and they played their games so professionally that nobody suspected an inkling in the office. Not even Joyce, Bridget's best friend, knew about their secret relationship. Bridget finds out that she is pregnant and unprepared for the baby. She is scared, worried as she dumps the pregnancy test kit on the ground and holds her head in dismay, feeling disappointed about her decisions because her father is a revered priest in the community and this unfortunate thing would mean a lot to him and his image, but she was scared of how her father would react. Of course, she knew her mother was more loving, caring, and understanding than her strict father, who would assume that she had disgraced. Bridget told her daddy. His first reaction was, "You have utterly disgraced me and I am totally ashamed of you. I mean, how could you do this to me? Do you reckon you've disgraced me? I am a good man to hit you and kill that bastard in your belly. Calm down, dear. This is not a matter of getting angry. It has already happened. Let us look at the way forward and see how we can quickly get both families to come together and make sure that at least he savors a last respect for the family." Indeed, this was no good news to her. She only kept quiet all the while, when her father was livid and rained his pains on her, making her sob quietly. "It was but a mistake," she said, "not knowing that this would be the way my father would react to the situation." Lo and behold, a similar meeting had gone on the lavish home of the Asantes. In fact, Mr. Asante wasn't also happy with the news that his son had brought, especially knowing what he stood for. This was far more than he could take. He uttered almost the same thing at the opposite end. "You have utterly disgraced me and I am totally ashamed of you. I mean, how could you do this to me? Do you reckon you've disgraced me?" Regardless, Edwin was calm and didn't react when his father said all these painful things to him. He realized it was all his mistake, but he couldn't talk. He only kept quiet and watched his father yell and say all he could say. Finally, they agreed to meet the families of both sides. The dates were set, and all was right and clear for a great family between the two. Bridget was looking all scared and worried, knowing very well that Edwin came from a very rich family, and that alone got her worried if they would come. The frustration on Bridget's face, coupled with beads of sweat, could obviously fill an entire irrigation dam. She was frightened because she was unsure if Edwin and his family members were going to make it, because a night before she told him of the meeting, Edwin was a bit hesitant, though he promised to be there. She finally decided to call Edwin and find out what was keeping him long. When she called, a female voice picked up the phone. Subscribe to Love Chronicles for more intriguing love stories. Remember to hit the notification button for more videos. Scared, Bridget asked with all suspicion and surprise, "Whom am I talking to?" The voice replied, "This is Nurse Amelia. I work with the Wander Metropolitano Hospital owned by Edwin's father. You seem to be scaring me," she said in a quail voice. "What's happening to him? How did he get there?" "He's currently in the emergency room. He was involved in an accident. Are you perhaps his girlfriend? Because he's saved the name, better half." "You mean Edwin is at the hospital? I am coming there." "I am sorry, miss, but you can't come around. He's in a critical condition." The nurse cuts the call and Bridget begins to sob. Her father, who had been listening in the background, came to comfort her, but it was up to no avail, because the love of her life and father of her unborn baby is at battle between death and survival. But her father calms her down, which is to no avail. After such a scary moment, Edwin's mom, Mrs. Asante, matches angrily towards her husband, Mr. Asante, who is already in a mood for celebration, sipping a bottle of wine in his expensive parlor. Francis Diamond Asante, as his father is known as comfortably enjoying his music and drink with no regards to the news involving his son. Frances, his wife affectionately, calls him stopping the music and walking up to him. "What is wrong with you? Your only son is involved in an accident, and you are here drinking wine," she asks him. "Well, I'd rather he's dead than to become a grandfather to any bastard. This family has a heritage, and it includes no bastard. If he's going to keep a bastard and bring along a poor gold digger to be part of the family, then he must be gone." "You are totally incorrigible," she mutters. "How can you watch our only son die, and you are happy about it? Whatever happened to you? Can't you see we are losing the only thing that once made us happy and proud?" "Point of correction," he shouts. "I was never interested in childbirth at that age, because I needed to enjoy the family wealth before childbirth, but you forced me and got pregnant at the wrong time. Perhaps this is karma getting at you." Edwin's mum angrily storms away from the presence of her husband, leaving him all alone. It is about 4 o'clock. Bridget is already seated in the office of Dr. Kendrick Owusu, a very handsome doctor and one of the most attractive health professionals in Squawka. "Doctor, what is happening? Will he survive?" "Calm down," the doctor tells her, smiling and calming her down. "He won't die. He will survive. He suffered a minor fracture in his elbow as a result of the accident, so there's nothing to panic about. So tell me, what is the relationship between you two?" She answers, "I am carrying his baby. That's pretty much interesting. Then you must rest. Relax. It's a minor issue. He would be fine. I think he is the next ward on your left. You can go and see him," he says to her. She gets up and leaves. When she leaves, the doctor's phone rings and he picks it up. The room was quite a tense one as she spent time with Edwin, who laid unconscious on the bed, not looking as the doctor described earlier. She looked at him, held his hand, and began crying, waking him up slowly. She cried and expressed her love towards him. He in turn looked at her, and it seemed she was stranger to her, but he was quiet as she spoke all she had to say. She realizes a sudden loneliness and deafness on the path of Edwin, something so unusual, but she wouldn't mind because his presence is enough for him. But she was definitely worried, since the doctor described the situation as not worrying but for Edwin not to recognize her, keep mute and look at her like a stranger. Then something must have gone wrong somewhere. The nurse and the doctor entered, and she was taken out of the room. The curtains were rolled to cover the opaque glass that would prevent people from seeing what was going on. The doctor started checking his vitals, and then took out his syringe and administered a drug into the drip pipe. He left Edwin all alone with the nurse and headed back. Upon getting to the door, he turned and told the nurse, "You make sure all is set before you leave in the next 5 minutes." She nods and the doctor gets out. Immediately he gets out. She also takes a syringe and extracts a black substance from his veins, and soon, Edwin Asante begins to cough. The sun immediately loses radiant quality, and it is suddenly threatening to rain. Bridget's phone begins to ring, and Joyce picks it up and calls Bridget to come for it. She's all ready. The voice sounds so cold and sorrowful. "Hello, Bridget. I hope you are okay. Well, I guess I have some news for you. Your boyfriend, Edwin Asante." The line drops. She is lost in thoughts and tried the number, but it doesn't go through for a moment. She starts to cry, and Joyce consoles her and tells her to have hope. Bridget's phone rings again, and when she picks, the voice tells her, "Hello, Bridget. I am sorry to inform you that your boyfriend Edwin. Watch out for episode 3. If you want more stories, subscribe and hit the notification button for more video."